Hello again, everyone. Another recording from Hebrew in Israel by Yoel. This week we're going to be reading out of the book of Genesis. Again, short videos, very quick. Please excuse the goofing up here with the camera. I'm still learning. But what we're going to do this week is Genesis 1 verses 1 to 5. Just for people, this is a classic text. This is a text that most of my students have to go through when they study biblical Hebrew. I'm going to read it out again with cantillation. Again, this is Ashkenaz. When I say Ashkenaz, I mean, first of all, it's not the American style. A lot of people hear the American style if you come to the United States. American style is a little different. What I do is much more of the German style, more Western Europe with a bit of a dry Israeli twist to it. There is a bit of a Yemenite influence in the way I read. Some people might make a comment like that. So if you're a het or an ayin, that's part of it, but that's also referred to as a clear accent, or it's referred to in Hebrew mivta tzach. It's a clear Israeli accent with more of a Sephardic nuance. And the whole point here is that you can also hear how to more properly read the Hebrew with more of the original sounds. If anyone actually asks, I can actually produce readings where I read with a very, very specific accent. It took a very long time studying accents throughout the years. I can do a Yemenite accent, I can do a Babylonian accent. I can also try to pronounce it the way it might have sounded some time back. Maybe according to the Masoretes, we have some of the Masoretes notes, so we know how more or less what they sounded like when they read. I know a lot of people are trying to reproduce the original sounds and everything. That's a very, very difficult thing to do if you don't have a tradition how to do these things. I've seen people write a lot of theoretical ways of writing, but they're not necessarily accurate. Let's go ahead. I'm going to read this out again slowly. I hope that people are able to follow what I'm reading here. And again, if there are anything you want to say, any notes, any remarks, as long as you do it in a kind way, I'll be able to respond to it. If you have criticism, I'm open to it. Just be nice about it. That's the way I work. I'm trying to be patient with other people. Try to be patient with me as well. So by the way, the Aleph represents number 1, the numeral 1. Hebrew doesn't really have numbers. We use the alphabet, and we do create combinations of alphabet to represent numbers. And it basically goes like this. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz ve'haaretz hayeta tohu vavohu ve'choshech al penei tehom ve'ruach Elohim merachefet al penei hamayim vayomer Elohim Yehi or, Vayhi or, Vayar Elohim et haor ki tov, Vayavdel Elohim ben haor uven hachoshech, Vayikra Elohim laor yom, Velachoshech קרא לילה, ויהי ערב, ויהי בוקר, יום אחד. You can see verse 5 is a little longer, so this is a hey, so it's a 5. It's a little longer, so you get used to a whole idea of reading very, very short verses, and you get full in one long one, it can cause trouble. I will say openly, you go to a synagogue, and you hear someone reading, and it's a lot of things to memorize, and it takes years to really perfect these things. I haven't read out loud on recordings and in public in a very, very long time. So again, when I get myself back into shape, it will go a lot smoother. But that's one of the things you have to remember. When you read, one of the problems that happens is you have, like, for example, patterns of cantillation, and suddenly you get thrown into a slightly different pattern or a slightly longer verse. It causes a little trouble for the reading. It's something that you learn to deal with in time. I will say a couple of things about cantillations. There are two very, very important cantillations that are critical for reading and breaking down a verse into segments. So I'm going to do a very quick discussion about this. For example, the word Elohim here. As you can see, there's like a little wishbone, some people call it, or a little entrance with a little knob on the top. That's referred to as atnachta or atnach. And the whole idea is that is a full stop. I'm going to mark this one out. That is a full stop, which means it's not the end of the verse. The end of the verse is actually, if you're reading out of a text, it is not really these two dots. A lot of people mistake it's two dots. It's actually a little line here underneath the aleph next to the kamatz. That's your end of the verse. But you have the word, you have this cantillation yatnachta, which is a full stop. So, and then what you have, okay, is also the little two dots that you have on the top. Okay, I'm going to mark that up. It looks like what's referred to as a shva in Hebrew. For example, shva is underneath the yud here. It's a certain type of vowel point, and some students of mine have confused this with a shva in the past. This is why I start off people without cantillations. A text without cantillation doesn't create confusion. And this is like a comma, so it breaks your verse down into a quarter. So basically, that goes like this. This cantillation is a stop in the middle, breaking the verse into two halves. Okay, this is why, for example, I had that confusion here at the end with the word laila, because the feeling is, oh, we've gone here, we've gone here, we have to stop here, let's stop here at the end, and suddenly you realize, no, it continues to the rest of the verse. It's quite common to make mistakes like that, so don't be surprised if you walk into a synagogue and someone makes that mistake. In any case, you have this into halves, and then this goes into quarters, so then suddenly you have like a segment that's in quarters. And what it does, because reading was actually rhythmic, it was a cantillation rhythmic method, it didn't really have all those musical tunes we use today. What you do is, to make it easier to memorize and make it easier to read the verse, you break it down into halves and then quarters, and there's even places where you break it down even more. But those are the two most basic cantillations that anyone has to know, no matter what happens. These are cantillations that, for example, if someone reads in a synagogue, they can goof on any cantillation except for this one and this one. These two are critical because they actually are the full punctuation of a reading segment. Hope people enjoy this video. Again, if you have anything you want me to read out for you guys, anything that interests you, any questions about cantillations or reading, just, you can email me on HebrewInIsrael@gmail.com, HebrewInIsrael, one word, @gmail.com. You can also leave, a comment just below, or you can also go to my Facebook page, ask me there. If you know my Facebook page yet, Hebrew in Israel, that's a Facebook, Hebrew in Israel, 3 words. You can go in there. I put stuff up about biblical Hebrew, ancient Near Eastern texts, biblical studies, history, and whatever people sometimes ask me to put up there. Have a great day.